Let's talk about getting triggered and why, when you are being your authentic self, you are going to trigger a lot of individuals. Okay, so you trigger people that are not being their true selves because you remind them of what they could be if they do the work. Consciously or subconsciously, they can sense your energy of being authentic, and it triggers their shadows within them because they are not willing to look at and integrate their own shadows. Maybe they believe there's nothing within them that needs to be looked at or worked on. Maybe they believe it's everyone else that are the problem, are the issue. So if you are being your true authentic self and you are showing up in that light, it literally points out people's darkness and it brings it to the surface. So you are never actually the issue. It's just that they are becoming more aware when you are in their presence of what it is they could do if they did the work, of who they could be if they did the work, because their soul knows and they know that you are showing them the possibility of who they can become and who they would like to become if they did that work. But this is why in this society, in life, the people that shine the brightest are always made to be dimmed down. They are always felt to be like they are the issue, they are the problem, even if they are just wanting to help people or they are just being themselves. It's as if this reality, this society, has been created for you to never want to be your true self. And if you are made to feel less than what everyone else is. Because the thing is, when you are being your true self, your authentic self, you are living from a heart and soul. You aren't living from ego. You are not operating and doing things to please something that doesn't exist, your ego. You are doing things out of love, because you realize that when you are being yourself and you are creating that energy in the world, you are attracting it back to you. But if you are always doing things to please and boost the ego, then you are always creating more suffering. So this society that we have been brought up in creates more suffering. It creates everything for you to live out your ego. It's why you see people judging and comparing other people based on what they're wearing or the shoes that they have. It's all been made for you to believe that the things that are important in your life that really aren't are. So your awareness is all caught up with all this irrelevant nonsense, and therefore the actual real things that count and matter, people don't have the time to think about. Their awareness is already filled with all this garbage that is so irrelevant, but it's because society has made it a thing. We are all so programmable. We are all like puppets. If you program your own mind, you'll live a reality that you want to live. If you let someone else program it for you, mainstream media, anything outside of you, then they have their own narrative of what it is they want you to believe. They have their own story of what it is they want you to believe is true. How you came about, what your life is about, what's important and what's not, what's going on in the world. So if you don't have all your power onto you, then you are giving it away to the external, and you don't understand how damaging that is, because you are a part of the external now. You are searching and looking for things outside of yourself, for distractions to give you answers, rather than going within and healing yourself. Once you heal the feelings you have within, then you take all your power back. You wouldn't even spend your time mindlessly scrolling, looking for answers or looking for things, distractions outside of you. You would realize that what you are consuming is so important and so crucial. So every time you go and you're doing anything, you're always led through your higher self thinking, okay, is this serving me? Is this bettering me and my life? Or is it just adding on to this fake sense of happiness, which it seems like this whole world believes that happiness comes from something to boost the ego. we've all been stripped away from authenticity in this world, and what it actually means to be authentic, what it feels like to be authentic. Even with social media and all of this, the amount of time people put into perfecting everything to make sure it all looks good for everyone else. When you are doing that, you are looking for the validation from the external. You are thinking that what you are doing and creating needs to be at a certain level of perfectionism or whatever for it to be accepted. But creation is creation. So when you create in being authentic, which is the highest frequency, it's always going to do amazing, because you are creating what is truly you. And when I say always gonna do amazing, I don't mean it's getting 1 million views, 1 million likes, or you're getting £1 million from it. I'm saying it's always going to be an amazing piece of creation, because you created it authentically. That is the best way to live. Anything that you're doing, you want to be authentic when you're doing it. At your job, you want to absolutely love what you're doing, because all your time and your energy, if it's going into this job that you're working at, you want to absolutely love it, because you want to throw your heart and soul into it, knowing that you have given your absolute all, because that is why you came here, to be the energy that you are. And when you vibrate at the highest, which is authenticity, that in itself is energy that can be transmuted into beautiful artwork, beautiful whatever you're doing, because everything you're doing is creation. Artwork, it can be drawing, painting, or whatever, but that is just creating as well. Singing, dancing, you could call anything artwork, because you can call everything creation. But make sure what you're doing is authentically for you, because otherwise you're going to feel like something's missing within, and you may fall into the trap of thinking that it's just something outside of yourself that you need to get. But then you're going to always be in that trap of the next thing for that tiny hit of dopamine. That is just very temporary. Real happiness and fulfillment comes from you being your true authentic self, feeling the feelings, so then you can be who you are. And therefore, whatever you're doing, make sure you're doing it out of love. Make sure that you absolutely love what you're doing, even if you have to fake it, even if you feel like what you're doing you have to do at this moment of time for whatever reason. Put your heart into what you're doing. Wake up every day and feel so grateful you get to have the opportunity to do what you're doing. Even when you're doing jobs that some people may call mundane, you're washing the dishes, whatever you're doing, you get to do that. You're in human form and you get to do all these things. Like, how amazing is that? Look at things from that perspective to gain the fulfillment from every single thing that you're doing, so you can be fully immersed and focused in every single task, not thinking about what's for dinner, what you're doing next week, tomorrow, whatever. Realize now is the only moment, and if you are living in love in this moment, you will see love in that moment, and therefore the next moments to come. It's not about what you're doing, it's about what you do with what's happening. So how are you producing the feeling to feel in those moments? Are you going to let anxiety, worry, fear, that's not even who you are, consume you? Or are you going to start living in faith, belief,